Lady Gaga. Well, actually, I didn't really start in the dance scene. I started more in the dive bar scene, which is really a lot of nerdy record collecting DJs. And I started go-go dancing and giving my records to the DJs in those bars. And then as I became more well known, it started to spread into the dance scene. And it's really, it's sick. I mean, it's club kids. There's still like a real scene down there. People have personas. The nightclubs feel like a culture. The music is underground, but it's also mainstream. I mean, it's a really cool environment. Well, and I almost feel like those are two different questions. I feel like I have always been an artist, and that I became more of an artist once I started to play out all the time downtown. But it really wasn't until I got signed to Interscope and until I got a tiny bit famous in New York that I really became more of a dance scene artist and out in the clubs than before. So I would have to say, like, right around the time when I got signed, I almost got arrested in Chicago for wearing short shorts. I was in W Magazine, cover of Women's Wear Daily. So really when I started being myself, I mean, I've always been an artist, but when I started to be just who I really am, which is a provocative exhibitionist, somebody that does things for attention pretty shamelessly, that's when I was like, okay, so just be who you are, and then that's your artistry. Well, I'm a New York Italian. My father used to play Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, Beatles, Billy Joel, Elton John records all the time, and he used to we had a record player in the living room, and he used to like pick me up when I was a kid, and he would like twirl me around. And I mean, I had a really amazing childhood. A lot of culture, a lot of meatballs, a lot of marinara, you know. So music was a big part of my family. I mean, even like, you know, listening to Andrea Bocelli over dinner, Frank Sinatra. Theater became a huge part of my life, a lot of because of that. I mean, I used to listen to the Sinatra duets like on repeat with my father all the time. And then my mother made me play piano when I was 4. It was kind of a discipline thing, and she used to say, you don't have to practice, but you got to sit there for an hour every day. You can either play or you can just sit there. And probably for the first couple of years, it was like, you know, I used to sit at the piano and like I'd start banging, and I was a really bad kid. And then I got bored just sitting there, so I started to play, and then I got really, really great at classical piano. So when I was 4, I started taking piano lessons, and I really hated it at first. I mean, I enjoyed playing, but I wanted to play by ear, mostly because it was faster for me. I could just like listen to something and just start playing it. Whereas reading music was more disciplined. I had to like, you know, learn the notes. And so I hated practicing, but my mom used to say like, don't move. Like you sit there for an hour, you can either like practice your scales or you can do nothing. So I used to be, you know, a real asshole and sit there and like start banging, or I would just like, you know, do that. And eventually I got bored, so I just started to play, and I got really, really good. And I got really good very fast. And that's how I am. If I'm not very good at something right away, I don't want to do it. There I go with my finger. Oh my God, what does that not mean to me? It's everything. It's who I am. It's culture, it's family, it's my heritage, it's my fashion sense. You know, I'm inspired by the street, but I'm also like obsessed with the gangster mob princess and the you know, in Scarface. And I mean, that's not Italian, but you know what I'm saying. The casinos and the gaudiness, and it all really plays into the concept of my album, The Fame, because for me, Italians and that sort of gaudy culture is a way of self-proclaiming your own fame without, you know, $8 million. Well, I was gonna go to, was it Juilliard or Manhattan School? I think it was Juilliard. I was really interested in going there for this like weekend pre-college program, and I actually got like really nervous before my audition and decided to go to acting school, which actually ended up being better because so much of what I do now is persona related, and Lady Gaga, me, it became who I am now, but it was like it was a self-discovery that really was found through acting and sense memory and figuring out, I mean, like things like, you know, certain positions and dance moves that I would do would resonate more with me than others. Like I suck at ballet, but I was excellent at jazz and theater. The artists that for me have been the most influential, I mean, like Madonna, David Bowie, I mean, of course I love them for their music, and not to sound vain or shallow, but I'm almost more appreciative of their work because of their visuals. I mean, it completely changes the way that you listen to the music. I moved to the Lower East Side when I was, well, 18, I moved to East Village, and then Lower East Side when I was 19. And, you know, everybody dressed different, everybody talked different, everybody's swagger was different, and I'm somebody that likes to experiment with different things, so I bought a lot of leather and a lot of sequins, and I started making, I was go-go dancing for fun, so I started making my costumes because it was cheaper and also fun. And it's a really big influence on the music because I sing about the lifestyle. I'm not making underground music, I'm making pop records about an underground lifestyle. That's the difference. No, it's not. It was definitely the Lower East Side. There's like a little bit of a metal glam scene, and I started to sort of take, you know, elements from that I liked. The rock star's girlfriend. That was the real beginning of my fashion. It was not so much I want to be the greatest rock and roll band that ever lived. I wanted to be the greatest rock and roll band that ever lived, lead singer's girlfriend. That's what I wanted to. I wanted to be the girl backstage at the Motley Crue concert in the feather dress doing Nikki Sixx's eyeliner. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of different. But I'm also obsessed with Versace, Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Fendi, Valentino. I mean, like delicious fabrics and cuts and silhouettes and the way that you can change the way a woman's body looks, the voodoo. I mean, that stuff is my life. So it's, how do you make $5 look like $5 grand? How do you feel like $5 grand when you've got $5 in your pocket? And you know, I'm not like, I wasn't a poor kid, but I said, Daddy, I want to be a rock star. He said, go be a rock star, you know? So I figured it out. And in downtown New York, and really in New York everywhere, really in the world, you have the ability to self-proclaim your own fame. You have the ability to experience and feel a certain amount of self-worth that comes from a very vain place by simply like your choices, your opinions about fashion, your opinions about music, your opinions about politics, the way that you walk down the street, the way that you carry yourself at parties. I mean, you can literally choose to have fame. And that's what this whole album is about. And I really, honestly do not care a tiny bit what people think about it, because I'm not posturing that it's good or that it's bad. I'm struggling with the idea, and it's affected my life in the most positive way. I mean, if anyone said, who is Lady Gaga, I would be okay with, she is the most impressive con artist of fame. I mean, I literally trick people every day into believing that I'm somebody, and I'm not.